الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا. اللهم زدنا علما إنك أنت عليم الحكيم. اللهم اجعل هذه المحاضرة حجة لنا لا حجة علينا يا رب العالمين. أما بعد. Usually on this evening we have a class with Zad al-Mustaqim covering the fiqh of Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala. However, at the contemplation and sitting and thinking about it, I decided to switch up the book during Ramadan as Ahkam as-Salat, no doubt, is very important. But I also feel like during this time, we need to remind ourselves of the Quran and some other things that may be beneficial to help aid the believers during the month of Ramadan. So there's a book that one of our mashayikh, Sheikh Abdul Majid al-Sabayl, Hafidahullah, his father, he wrote a book called Majalis Ramadan. Majalis Ramadan. He was from the major scholars of Mecca, rahimahullah ta'ala. This is a very, very beneficial book, and so we're going to read some things from it. Qira'atan, yani, something that is easy. When I was thinking about the Salat class in particular, there are many different components in that class that requires a lot of thinking and consideration, and I figured since we're all fasting, I didn't want to yushaggal al-dhihn too much. I didn't want to exercise the brain too much and people asking a lot of questions and confused. So inshallah ta'ala, we're going to read from this book, inshallah. There's a chapter or a section called Adab as-Sa'im, the mannerisms of the one that is fasting. The mannerisms of the one that is fasting. So the Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala, he starts off by saying, Wa'alam ayyuha as-Sa'im al-Kareem أن للصوم آدابا ينبغي أن يتأدب ونتخلق بها. The first thing the Shaykh rahimahullah, he says wa'lam, know O fasting person, that for a person that is fasting, there are mannerisms, yanbaghi, that it is necessary that we implement or carry amongst ourselves in terms of akhlaq and mannerisms. And so he's going to give a list of mannerisms that are appropriate for the one that is fasting to have. As we all know, while we're fasting, we're going to have different trials and tribulations. People are going to test us. You're going to get upset. So this serves as a reminder for myself first and for my brothers and sisters secondly. So the Shaykh rahimahullah, he says, Minha kufa nadar, that we protect our gazing. Especially now since it's hot, sometimes we may look at things that we're not supposed to. Even on social media nowadays, you can look at whatever you want in the palm of your hands. And he says, Kuf al-nadar, wa kuf al-lisan, and we are to guard our tongues an fudul al-kalam, on excessive talking that will not bring any benefit. On excessive talking that will not bring any benefit. He says, wa minha al-iftaru ala al-halal, and that when it's time to break our fast, we break our fast with things that are halal. Wa ta'jilu, and we rush to break our fast. Wa an yufattiru ala rutab, and if we're able, then we break our fast with a type of date that is considered rutab. A rutab date, ya ikhwan, is a type of date that is soft and moist. We have a book coming out. In the book that we have, in the back of the book, it gives a detailed description of the different types of dates and what they look like. There are actually pictures of them, what they look like and how they feel, etc. So you will understand when you listen to a statement that says a hadith or a date that is rutab, then we know what type of date that is, what it actually looks like. فَإِن لَمْ يَجِدْ فِعْلَ تَمْرًا, and he said if you don't find a date that is rutab, then they find another type of date that is called a tamr. And they're all dates, but they're different types, they have different textures, they look different. So he says, وَيُسْتَحَبُّ أَن يَقُولُ, and he said it is recommended for the one that is fasting to make this dua. Allahumma laka sumtu. O Allah, to you I made this fast. Wa ala rizqika aftartu. And from your sustenance I break my fast. Wa alayka tawakkaltu. And upon you I place my trust. Wa kana ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma idha aftaru yaqul. And Ibn Umar was the son of Umar ibn Khattab. He would make this dua, Allahumma inni as'aluka bi rahmatik allati wasi'ta kulla shay and taghfir li. And taghfir li. And Ibn Umar, he would make this dua too. He would say, Oh Allah, indeed I ask you from your mercy that encompasses everything that you forgive me. Oh Allah, I ask you by your mercy that encompasses everything that you forgive me. And this hadith was reported by Ibn Majah, wal-Hakim, wal-Imam al-Bayhaqi. وَيُسْتَحَبُّ تَعْجِيلَ الْفِطْرِ. And it is recommended that we rush to break our fast. And this is due to the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, where he said, لا يزال الناس بخير ما عجلوا الفطر. And this hadith was reported by Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said people will remain upon goodness as long as they rush to break their fasts. And then he says, وَيَنْبَغِي لِلصَّائِمِ أَنْ يَحْرِصَ غَايَةَ الْحِرْصِ عَلَى إِخْلَاصِ الْعَمَلُ لِلَّهِ. And he says also, it is important for the one that is fasting. It is important for the one that is fasting that they maintain sincerity in what they're doing, what they do for the sake of Allah. It's important that they maintain sincerity or have sincerity when they do things, when they amal lillah, then they say that they're doing their actions for Allah. وَأَنْ يَجْتَنِبَ الْأَمُورَ الَّتِي تَنْقُصُ صِيَامَهُ أَوْ تُبْطِلُهُ. And that they stay away from things that will cause their fast or tanaqqus, yani take away from their fast or actually nullify their fast. It's very important to stay away from those things. And some of those things that will diminish one's fast, but not invalidate it, but diminish the fast. وَذَلِكَ كَالسَّبِّ لِلنَّاسِ. Cursing the people. Some of us have vile tongues, and we don't restrain them in Ramadan or outside of Ramadan. And so some of them, cursing people, وَالطَّعْنِ فِيهِمْ, and disrespecting and talking about people, وَالْكَذِبِ, and lying, وَالْفُحْشِ, and committing evil acts, fornication and the likes, وَالْفُجُورِ. فقد روى أبو هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم He said رب الصائم حظه من صيامه الجوع. He said it could be that a person is fasting and the only benefit that that person gets from his fast is starvation, is hunger. And then he says وَالْعَطْشِ. And some people, the only benefit they get from their fast is that they're thirsty. وَرُبَّ قَائِمَ حَظَّهُ مِنْ قِيَامِهَا السَّحَرِ. And maybe that person, only thing he gets is standing in the morning for prayer, but he doesn't get any benefit from it. Doesn't benefit. Only thing happened, you just wind up standing all night. Imagine if we were from the people, وَيَذَ بِاللَّهِ, Allah allowed you to stand up all night in prayer. And the only thing you got is top. The only thing you benefited from standing all night in prayer is tired legs. And the only thing you got from that staying all night and reading is that you're tired and you're falling asleep at work. Other than that, you got no benefit. This could be some of the things that could happen if we don't take heed to what the Shaykh is saying, rahimahullah. And then he says, وَفِي الْحَدِيثِ أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إذا كان أحدكم يوما صائما فلا يجهل ولا يرفث فإن أمره قاتله أو شتمه فليقول إني صائم رواه أحمد وغيره. And there's another hadith that was reported by Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He said that if one of you are fasting, and someone, and they don't behave ignorantly, and they don't have foul speech, and if somebody wants to fight with them, because in Ramadan, believe it or not, that's when a lot of brothers get antsy. And towards the middle of Ramadan, you're ready to fight, right? It says if a person wants to fight with you, oh shatamahu, if a person curses you or wants to fight with you, فَلْيَقُولْ إِنِّي صَائِمًا, then you say to that person, for indeed I am fasting. For indeed I am fasting. وَيَنْبَغِي لِلْمُسْلِمِ أَنْ يَغْتَنِمَ أَوْقَاتَ هَذَا الشَّهْرَ الْكَرِيمِ. And he said it's also very important for the Muslim to benefit from the time that they have during this month. This month, ya ikhwan, Ramadan is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for at least 29 to 30 days. 29 to 30 days of khayr. He says, benefit from your time. وَيُكْثِرُ فِيهِ الصَّلَاةِ. Recite or pray as much as you can during this month. وَقِرَاءَةُ الْقُرْآنِ. And reciting the Qur'an as much as you can during this month. Making dhikr, remembering of Allah, as much as you can during this month. وَالتَّسْبِيحِ, saying subhanallah, as much as you can during this month. التَّحْلِيلِ, لَا الْحَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ, as much as you can during this month. وَالتَّحْمِيدِ, alhamdulillah, as much as you can during this month. فَإِنَّ هَذَا مَوْسَمٍ مِّن مَوَاسِمِ الطَّاعَاتِ. For indeed this is a time period of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقَدْ جَاءَ عَنْهُ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ أَنَّهُ قَالَ إِذَا جَاءَ رَمَضَانَ فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابَ الْجَنَّةِ. That when Ramadan comes, paradise is open. وَغُلِّقَتْ أَبْوَابَ النِّيرَانِ. And that the gates or the gates of the hellfire is closed. وَالسِّلْسِلَةِ الشَّيَاطِينَ. That the shayateen are chained down. They are chained. وَنَادَى مُنَادٍ. And then a caller will call out, يَا بَاغِيَ الْخَيْرِ أَقْبِلْ. And the one who wants to do good, a caller will call out, oh, those who want to do good, do good. This is your time to do good now. And then it says, وَيَا بَاغِيَ الشَّرِّ أَقْصِرْ. And oh, the people of evil, as we say in our language, fall back. Fall back. This is not your time. This is not your time. And this hadith was reported by Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim. وَقَدْ قَالَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. And the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, Al-Kayyisu. Al-Kayyisu is a type of person. This person who rajulun yahtanimu force. Al-Qayyisu is a person that benefits from opportunities when they come their way. A person who benefits from opportunities when they come his way or her way. It says, Al-Qayyisu min dana nafsuhu. The person that takes advantage of this month is the one who yuhasabu nafsuhu. If a person, basically, they're saying this type of person is one who evaluates himself during this month. You look in the mirror and you become brutally honest with what you see. That's it. There's no other way around. We look in the mirror and we become brutally honest with what we see in the mirror. This is called taking yourself into account. A lot of times, the people that are around you, they may praise you. Oh, mashallah, brother, you're this, brother, you're that, brother, you're this, brother, you're that. And people praise you. The ones that are around you, for the most part, they're going to praise, they're going to say good stuff to you, make you feel good about yourself. But when you look in the mirror, you know your reality better than anyone else. When you look in the mirror, you know your reality better than anyone else. And so it says, Al-Qayyisu man dana nafsuhu. That this person is one who evaluates himself. وَعَمَلَ لِمَا بَعْدَ الْمَوْتِ. And this type of person, they do work for the next life. So imagine if we were conscious in the moves that we make every day, we're thinking about the next life. How is this going to aid me in my next life? This is that person, al-Kayyisu. They're thinking about how will my moves benefit me after I'm dead. Because the reality, ikhwan wa akhwat, the reality, brothers and sisters, we're going to be dead a lot longer than we're going to be living. Think about that. You don't believe me? There are graveyards right now. People have been in their graves 2, 3, 4, 500 years. Right now. Right now. Yet, we're here for a limited amount of time. A limited amount of time. The shaitan's job is to take us off the course. Take us away. Don't think about death. One of the benefits of living in Mecca is that the people, they talk about death. They think about death. One of the harms of being here in America, no one talks about death. It doesn't exist. And when someone dies, we think of an excuse of why they died so that we don't do what they did. If someone is sick with an illness, if someone has cancer, or someone has this, we look at what caused them to have cancer. Well, you look at his diet. Oh, he didn't eat right. All right, well, I'm going to make sure I eat right. Why? Because these are subtle ways that we think of preserving ourselves, believing that we're going to live longer. Not thinking that you can be the healthiest eater in the world and die from the same sickness. You can never smoke cigarettes and die from lung cancer. You can never do any of these things, and there's no escaping death, brothers and sisters in Islam. The shaitan wants us to believe that there's escape for death. But if we only used our intellects and we thought about it, there can't be any escape for death, because the funeral homes or the burial grounds are all filled with bodies that came before us. And it's a reminder. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ, he advised his ummah to visit the graves. Visit the graves. يُذَكِّرُكَ بِالْمَوْتِ. Visit the grave, because it will remind us of death. It will remind us of death. So therefore, this person that is kayyis, this person, he does actions for the next life. And then he says, well, al-ajis, as for the one that's not like this, al-ajis, he's not able to do this. Man atba'a nafsahu hawahu. This person, they follow their desires. Whatever their desires lead them, they go. وَتَمَنَّ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْأَمَانِي. And these type of people, they have excessive hope. Oh, Allah forgive me. No problem. I do this here, Allah's going to forgive me. If you're doing something haram, Allah Ghafur Rahim. Allah is Ghafur Rahim. He's forgiveful and He's merciful. So for atub ba'da Ramadan, I'm going to make tawbah later. I'm going to make tawbah by dain. As I say, by dain. I'm going to make tawbah later. I'm going to ask Allah to forgive me later. Fil mustaqbil. Wa sawfa aslah hali by dain. Lama akbar. He said, I'm going to rectify myself when I get older. There's a brother here I know when I was 16 years old. 16. We're almost 40 now. When are we going to get it right? When are we going to get it right? I'm going to wait till I turn 40. Yeah, you're almost 40 now. Oh, I'm going to wait till I turn 50. Well, yeah, I'm going to wait. Time's going to run out. Who's to say that we're even guaranteed? Who's to say that we're even guaranteed to live that long? And so the Shaykh Rahimahullah, he says, فَيَنْبَغِي لِلْمُسْلِمِ أَنْ يُحَاسِبُ نَفْسَهُ وَيَعُودُ عَلَى فِعْلِ الْخَيْرِ. He said that it is important for the Muslim to look at themselves and analyze their actions. Think about it. And do types of good deeds. And be patient. Sabr ala ta'at. Be patient in obedience to Allah. This is a section where the Shaykh Rahimahullah, Shaykh Muhammad al-Subayl Rahimahullah Ta'ala, he has a lot of books like this, a lot of series of books that are beneficial. And so he says, Ayyuhal Muslim, innal Muslim, in lam yastati' and yastaytir ala nafsihi ajabatha ila jami' ragabatiha falaysa bisa'im. He said that, O Muslim, if you're not able, if you're not able to control yourself, if you're not able to control yourself in all of your desires, he said, then this person is not fasting. Then this person is not fasting. And he says, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَمْتَنِعْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ وَرَفْثِ فَلَيْسَ بِصَائِمٍ. If the person cannot stay away from evil speech and evil actions, then they're not fasting. This doesn't mean that you go out and you break your fast. He's saying that this person may not get the reward for their fast. They may not get the reward, and they may go back to the hadith that we mentioned earlier with the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. He said that maybe a person will only get yani hunger and thirst from their fast, or standing all night with no benefit for them. With no benefit for them. And it says, إِنَّهُ لَنْ يَنَالُ اللَّهُ مِنْ إِمْسَاكِنَا عَنِ الطَّعَامِ وَالشَّرَابِ شَيْئًا وَلَكِنَّهُ يَنَالُهُ التَّقْوَى مِنْ كُلِّ ذَلِكَ كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام من لم يدع قول الزور وعمل به فليس لله حاجة أن يدع طعامه وشرابه رواه البخاري. And the Shaykh rahimahullah, he said that Allah, it doesn't benefit Allah anything by us not fasting and restraining from things, from food and drink. However, what should be benefited from these things is taqwa, that we should gain nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he mentions a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he says, "Man lam yad'a qawl az-zur," whoever does not leave off qawl az-zur, can't be touching zur, treachery. Whoever doesn't leave off treachery, or being treachery with their tongue, being treacherous with their tongue, lying, being deceitful, وَالْعَمَلُ بِهِ, and acting in accordance to it, فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةً, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of your fasting, nor is He in need of you leaving off your drink. And this hadith was reported in Bukhari by Imam al-Bukhari. And then at the end, he mentions a hadith that one should learn during the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. This narration, this hadith is a dua that should be made during the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Allahumma innaka afuun. Oh Allah, you are the partner. Tuhibbul afwa, and you love to pardon people. Fa'fu anna, then pardon us. And then another narration of the hadith, fa'fu anni. The hadith is fa'fu anni, then pardon me. Then pardon me. At any event, we're going to stop with that, inshallah. If there are any questions, now, tafaddal.
You had brought, I didn't catch it, because you brought up two du'as that I think one was from Ibn Umar, and the one that you said before that, and it started off, Allahumma laka samtu.
Nah.
And it brought me to that one, you know, the one that they use, that they say is weak in Surah Dawud, Allahumma laka samtu.
It may be weak. It may be weak. So, here's the thing. Some of the ulama, there may be a hadith that's weak, but the ulama still use it. Limada, the ahadith that are used that are weak, sometimes they're used to call for fada'il al-a'mal. Anything that has to do with righteous actions, anything that has to do with getting closer to Allah, righteous actions, not nothing like doing the act, like for example, if you do this, if you go against the hadith that has to do with some type of legislative action, that's one thing different. But if it has to do with fada'il al-a'mal, anything that has to do with virtuous actions, then you find many of the salaf still act on those ahadith. So here, this hadith here, kulluhu sah. Are you saying, Allahumma laka sumtu? Let's assume that the hadith was da'if. Are you saying that it's not correct to say, oh Lord, to you I make my fast? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Another one, وَعَلَى رِزْقِكَ أَفْطَرْتُ. Is it not true that if it's not from the rizq of Allah that we're breaking our fast? Right? And another part of hadith, وَعَلَيْكَ تَوَكَّلْتُ. Is it true? Do we not put our trust in Allah? So these are from fada'il al-a'mal, meaning from virtuous actions where it's permissible to use a hadith that may be not authentic, that may not be authentic. Is that clear? Or no?
Not really.
All right. So when you study in Islam, we have ahadith that are authentic and ahadith that are da'if.
I get that part.
Right.
What I'm asking is, in this particular instance, like
can you make that dua? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm asking.
So many of the ulama say you can make that dua. That was the point I was trying to make.
Gotcha.
Many ulama say you can make this dua. And from them, Sheikh Muhammad al-Subayl, rahimahullah ta'ala. Many of them. Even if you look through the books of the Salaf, like a book called Al-Mughni from Ibn Qudama. It was written over 700 years ago. It talks about all, even in books like Tamheed, even Abdul Barr. You can find it in a book called Sharh al-Kabir, different adiyah. We don't find any of, and the key would be, because now we get into an issue of, is it an innovation to say this dua, yes, no, so on and so forth. Now, if it was an innovation to make those adiyah, to make those different du'as, then clearly we would have found the scholars of the past saying this, making this dua is an innovation, because it's not new. This dua was around over 800 years ago. And if we don't find any of the earlier salaf saying that this was an innovation to make this dua, then who are we in 2018 to say something that people who came before us didn't say? As Imam Ahmed, he said, عَلَيْكَ أَن تَقُولَ قَوْلًا لَمْ يَسْبِقُكَ إِمَامٍ. Imam Ahmed, rahimahullah, he said, be cautious to make a statement, or when you make a statement, make sure your statement is preceded by an imam. Meaning, if you make a statement like this is not correct, that's not correct, make sure you have someone that preceded you from the earlier scholars of Al-Islam making those types of statements. Now,
I ain't finished yet.
no, go ahead, Sheikh.
So, would this fall under 805, 806?
What time is it, Tom?
I think 11, 12, something.
Sorry, we got, it's the last one, Sheikh.
All right, we got it.
Fadla.
So in regards to the one that had that level, would that be? No. Would we use that one because that one is more authentic?
You
as
can
opposed
use
to that one?
You can use that.
Either one.
You can use it. Use it. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just telling. This is what the Sheikh mentioned in his book.
Right.
I'm not here to say, Sheikh, this is incorrect. I'm gonna make tashih of his kalam. I'm not gonna make tarjih and say the Sheikh was incorrect and say, who am I? Man ana. Man ana. Ana talib miskeen. Man ana. I'm gonna say to you, the Sheikh is incorrect when he said this. Who am I? Huh? طيب. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Can you stop that? Stop.